Answers that I need and get the justice that she deserves means everything to me. I'd have done it till my last breath.
And we were able to identify a suspect quite quickly because the lab was able to prioritize that.
It's just a matter of getting out there, tying up the loose ends, and then getting that prosecution. Getting close, Larry.
California City. It's a community of roughly 15,000 growing in the Mojave Desert since the 1960s. It's a quiet place, perfect for those looking to escape the bustling city life. Welcome to this 23 ABC News special, California City in the Headlines. I'm Veronica Morley. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take a look back at some of the headlines that have drawn people to this city, those stories that drew attention and the ones that didn't. The ones of those seeking justice and the community that kept that fight for justice going. But first, a look at this desert town that has captivated so many.
What it is a pretty desert that could be better.
It's one of California's largest cities by land size. But as history says, it never fully got off the ground.
They almost did it right, but they lost it.
As Jim Quiggle told us back in 2017, he came to Cal City with the hope of revitalizing Nat Mendelssohn's dream, taking a second go at areas near the Silver Saddle Resort. It was meant to rival cities like Los Angeles and San Diego. But if you visit California City today, you'll be met with miles and miles of open desert. Even though this city isn't what developers in the 60s dreamt it would be, it's grown into its own sanctuary, a community that looks out for its own.
I've tried to preach about the community buy-in.
Community in Cal City, I got to give them credit first of all because they were the first ones out there.
Especially during times of hardship. Unlike other big cities, Cal City rarely sees major crimes. So when they do, it's not only the investigation that garners attention, it's also the people who live here coming together.
That first night that we got that call, there was a tremendous outpouring of people.
You know, not a lot of people have support this long, even after the fact, so I just want to tell them thank you.
And so these people that come out on their own time to volunteer, I mean, that was huge for us.
That just shows you their character, you know, and it could be anybody.
The case that seemed to catapult California City to national headlines was that of missing toddlers Oren and Orson West. Born Classic and Sincere Pettis, the 3- and 4-year-old, were reported missing on December 21st, 2020 by their adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezell West. The couple had recently moved to California City with their 4 other children, and California City police quickly jumped into action. However, the investigation would soon uncover that the toddlers may never have even been here.
Where are the boys? Where are the boys?
We're just trying to dig up anything, any clues that we can possibly find.
There's people in other countries who's behind, you know, the boys.
It was the story that gripped the nation.
Somehow, some way, they went missing. They've never been found.
2 toddlers seemingly vanish in the middle of the night.
Been missing for nearly 2 months now.
It's been more than 40 days.
10 months, 1 year since 2 young boys, 3-year-old Orson West and 4-year-old Oren West, were reported missing.
The case would soon take a turn as investigators began looking closely into the family. After they were reported missing in December 2020, while the public was searching for Oren and Orson, investigators were already beginning to suspect foul play.
So far, authorities say that they haven't found any physical evidence of foul play, but since the very beginning of this case, December 21st, 2020, authorities have said that they do believe foul play is involved.
The investigation would go on for 2 years before Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer would announce that the boys' adoptive parents were taken into custody on March 1st, 2022.
Indicted Trezell and Jacqueline West for the murder of Oren and Orson West.
It would be another year before the trial began, the prosecution arguing that 3-year-old Oren had died while the couple lived in Bakersfield in September of 2020, and after the couple moved to California City, they conspired to kill Orson.
Trezell and Jacqueline have no moral fiber. They killed 2 kids. Not only were they not in the van on December 19th, that they hadn't been in the home in California City.
The defense tried to argue that investigators were closed-minded from the get-go, that they ignored leads and evidence that could have supported the couple's story. The boys went missing from their California City backyard in December.
The investigation that was going on during that time But there was a separate investigation.
We can't convict two people just so we can pretend that those two boys didn't get took.
This, however, wasn't enough to convince the jury.
Find the defendant, Trezell West, Jacqueline West, guilty of felony to wit.
Trezell and Jacqueline West were convicted of second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, among other charges, in May of this year. The sentencing, expected to take place on July 13th, was postponed to September 13th.
There's been so many mistakes through this whole case that we can't accept any more mistakes.
To close my eyes and know that justice has been served.
For family of the two toddlers, the conclusion and guilty verdicts leave them with only one last question.
Where are the babies?
During the trial of Trezell and Jacqueline West, California City police officers and their chief, Jesse Hightower, were put under intense scrutiny. Many questions were raised regarding practices during the investigation. We sat down with Chief Hightower to get a better understanding of the department.
After that trial was over, even while it was still going on, those were issues that were addressed, and they were addressed immediately.
For Jesse Hightower, taking over as chief of police at California City has been an intense transition.
As a police department, we're trying to better our relationship with the community. We want them to know that they can come talk to us. If they want to tour the station, they can get a tour of the station. If they want to come talk to me, they can come talk to me. We just want them to feel safe and comfortable and confident in the organization and the community as well.
Hightower became interim police chief after the retirement of former chief John Walker. Hightower was promoted and lost interim title in October of 2022. So when the trial of Trezell and Jacqueline West began in May 2023, Hightower, among various officers, were called to testify.
That's something that I've had face-to-face conversations with each person that testified in that case to make sure that the errors that I saw personally, that we don't recreate those errors.
Several officers that were called to the stand were questioned by the defense, often to discuss their investigation practices. Attorneys questioning evidence that was gathered and potential evidence that wasn't. Hightower, a lieutenant at the time of the investigation, is now using his role as chief to address some of those questions.
On paper, I have 14 officers. In reality, I have 11. If I were to be fully staffed, we would have 17. So it makes it a little bit difficult, especially when you get something high priority. So we do the best we can with what we got.
These guys, most of them came from other agencies, but they only worked patrols.
The department, unable to staff its detective unit, brought in retired LA County Sheriff's homicide detective Larry Brandenburg in 2018.
So if you get a young patrol officer, he gets thrust into a murder case like this, and he doesn't have an older guy. I had the luxury of my old department, had all that experience to teach me, and I could consult with them.
With more than 200 square miles of land to patrol, Hightower admits that his officers are often stretched thin, but they take advantage of the resources available to them, including county services, federal, and the China Lake base.
There's so much of this land, there's so much of this desert with this small community within it. But what does that mean for you guys as a department? How does that impact, what kind of crime you guys see or how you investigate things?
So it obviously creates issues, especially when we have 203 square miles that we're responsible for. Luckily for us, it's pretty much centralized where you see now. We do have outlying areas that we still respond to. It definitely takes its toll, and so what we try to utilize or what we try to do is when we get new guys in, is we teach them from A to Z about how to do the investigation, because there's nobody that we can call. So you have to do the interviews, you have to take your pictures, you have to do the follow-ups and basically work the case. And that's what's hard, because we don't have anybody currently designated to do detective work. So on top of handling their regular calls for service, they're also tasked with their other investigations.
Hightower says he's continuing to review the department's shortcomings and is working to improve the areas he can.
What would you like to see, kind of come about to help Cal City Police Department?
Well, obviously, if I can hire personnel, that would be great. Once I have sufficient enough people on the street, that would allow me to reintroduce the detective unit. So we used to have 2 full-time detectives before Larry got here. And so they would handle the cold cases, they would handle the active cases and stuff like that. And then that allowed patrol to go out and be suppressive and to make an impact. So that it comes down to just getting people that want to work. Like I said before, that's a statewide thing. I think it's a nationwide thing, is nobody wants to do this job anymore. So it's hard to find people that are qualified to even come in as patrolmen.
During the investigation into Orrin and Orson's disappearances, Hightower says they wouldn't have been able to make the developments they did without the community's involvement.
There was no way that we could have wrangled everybody together and no, you have to stay over here. It was okay, we're focused on, we have our little block that we're making basically secure. I can't control, hundreds of thousands of miles of desert. So, and I think that was asked me, why wasn't there any control? It's like, well, how do you? There's no possible way. I mean, if you've seen the location, there's no way that you can control that. I don't care if you have 100 officers, you're not going to control that. It's all about the rapport that you have with the community, and I think we're on the upswing on that. I think we're doing a good job with building good rapport with the citizens.
While all eyes fell on Cal City during the search for Orrin and Orson, that wasn't the only major investigation brewing out of this small desert town. A look at the case of Desiree Thompson when California City in the headlines returns. While Cal City was making headlines for the missing toddlers Orrin and Orson West, investigators were looking into another major case, an 11-year-old cold case finally reaching a light at the end of the tunnel as the killer of Desiree Thompson was soon to be uncovered.
January 7, 2012, Desiree Thompson was listed as a missing person.
When O'Quinn left, I thought that was the end of my daughter's case at that point. I had lost all hope.
I mean, there was nobody else. There was nobody else to even, Mr. Laura wasn't on the radar. They didn't know one another.
It sounded like something straight out of a movie. A woman disappears one night after a domestic violence incident with her estranged husband. Her mother and a retired detective fighting for answers, only for an anonymous tip to break the case right open a decade later.
To fight for her and get the answers that I need and get the justice that she deserves means everything to me. And I'd have done it till my last breath.
Sherry Smith finally has the answers she's been waiting for. For 10 years, she believed her daughter, Desiree Thompson, had been killed by her estranged husband, Edward Gibson. And she wasn't the only one.
When you first looked at that case, what was kind of your thought about it?
That it was her husband, the domestic violence, history of it, and the level of violence of it, and him disappearing. So that's where we were focused on, was him, until the tip came in.
Larry Brandenburg, a retired homicide detective, had been on the case for 4 years when he finally got the call in 2022. The caller saying 10 years ago, a man told him and his father he picked up a woman in Cal City, took her to his home, and killed her.
Pretty convinced that these guys at least believed what they were telling me. What are the odds?
The odds were incredible. The caller saying he saw the woman's photo in a Facebook post, a post by Sherry.
I knew that I had to keep my daughter's face out there because otherwise she'd have been forgotten.
After that tip, the pieces of the case started coming together.
Once we got the tip of that case, we knew what we needed. I wanted to use ground penetrating radar, so I reached out to the base for that. I had previously worked with the FBI, the forensic dig team, so I knew that we were going to be digging, so I reached out to them for that.
I got my answers in one day. When they found my daughter's body, they arrested the person who murdered her within hours after finding her remains.
That person, Jose Lara. Investigators learned that on January 7th, 2012, the same night Desiree's husband threatened her, Lara had been leaving a party where he'd gotten into an aggravated confrontation. Investigators believe he came upon Thompson walking home, and even though she was a complete stranger, that didn't stop him from wanting to take out his anger.
Poor woman had a terrible day in her life. First she gets assaulted by her husband, and then 14 hours later she gets taken to a house by this guy that she doesn't even know, and she's brutally murdered.
Everyone astonished to learn that the person responsible for Thompson's death wasn't who they thought.
For years, we had no other person to think of because her husband literally made himself look guilty. I understand why he ran, but I also don't forgive him for the part that he didn't turn himself in so that we could look for somebody else.
How insane is it also to think that he could have gotten away with it had he just not bragged about it?
Oh, he would have. We would have never been on to him if he hadn't told anyone.
Once investigators had the tip, they went to Laura's former home. It took some convincing, but the new residents allowed investigators to search the property, and they found what they needed.
It's pretty hard to explain away when you have all that evidence, the physical evidence, the blood in the bedroom, the DNA evidence in the bedroom after all those years. The body being buried in his backyard. It's exactly what he told the witnesses.
A jury convicted Laura after less than 30 minutes of deliberating. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
I prayed and promised her and her children that I wouldn't stop until she was back home.
This is Cherie and her sister, and these are Desiree's children. So what I have here is the handcuffs that were used to arrest this coward. They've been in my safe for over a year. They've never been used since. And I've been waiting for the conviction so I can present them to Desiree's mom, Cherie, and her family.
This right here means everything. I can't bring my daughter back, but this will go right up there next to her.
To bring an answer like this forward and to get to see the family get some closure, how does that feel for you guys?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's rewarding. It is.
I just love her and I miss her. And I fought for justice for her and for her kids, for myself. And I just pray that she's at peace.
A somber ending for Sherry as she finally gets closure for her daughter's case, and a victory for the Cal City Police Department. Sherry says that even though she's gotten her answers, this won't stop her from advocating for others who are fighting for justice for their loved ones. And as we just saw, even the smallest tip can help break a case like this wide open. Coming up, a look at other unsolved cases here in California City when California City in the Headlines returns. The conclusion of the West trial and the Desiree Thompson investigation were victories for the California City Police Department, but they still have several unsolved cases going all the way back to 2001.
Most of these cases, it's the same theme as we pretty much know who we're looking at. It's just a matter of getting people to actually say the truth.
Investigators in California City are closing in on cases that have remained unsolved for years, like Philip Hammond, reported missing in 2017 until his remains were found a year later.
We have a fairly good idea. We're just still waiting for that one piece.
Matthew Lininger, an out-of-towner visiting his girlfriend when he was killed in his sleep.
I was there for that one. That one's very dear to my heart.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and there's other evidence and phone records and text messages.
Dimitri Thomas, shot in a suspected gang-related drive-by in 2014. Desiree Schiller, strangled and killed in a local park in 2016. Robert Tharp,
currently listing as missing. Well, we know where he was last seen, but the events that led up to that.
Charles Piper, a victim of a home invasion, as well as Dr. Burdette Thorbus.
That particular case, there's been several people that have been interviewed on that. Some of their statements changed through the years.
As with the case of Desiree Thompson, any little detail can help, especially with Kern County's unique ability to test DNA and forensic evidence right here.
85% of our homicide cases in Kern County rely on DNA analysis from this lab.
The Kern County Crime Lab is one of only 4 labs throughout the state associated with a district attorney's office, allowing our local DA and law enforcement agencies to test evidence without having to send it out, meaning local cases can be prioritized. The Crime Lab also on the cutting edge of forensic and DNA technology.
A few years ago, we were the first lab to be able to introduce into court a type of interpretation of DNA evidence called probabilistic genotyping. And we're looking forward to continuing that progression.
Crime Lab Director Tammy Lowe says the lab's work when it comes to cold cases is always advancing.
When we began in 2000, the Technology would test 6 locations on the DNA strand. Fast forward to today, we test 24 locations.
In 2016, the lab created its own local DNA criminal database. The lab continues to grow that database, expanding profiles thanks to advancements in touch DNA.
Is the victim's DNA somewhere it shouldn't be? Is a suspect DNA profile somewhere it shouldn't be? Those are generally the questions that we're after.
The next step in the progression of DNA analysis that could help close some of these cold cases, investigative genetic genealogy.
Because it's a cold case, usually it's cold because there's not a suspect. So looking for those items of evidence that might have the perpetrator profile on them.
Phenotypical information like hair color and eye color.
That information is now being applied to forensic science and working cold cases and working crimes.
The better we get, the more certain we are, and the higher the statistical match will be.
DNA and forensic evidence can answer many questions, but it can only take a case so far, and investigators still rely on witness testimony to help connect the missing pieces.
That's hard to deal with. I want every single family here to have closure and to be happy. And with some of them, it just takes that one person to come forward, just like it did with Desiree.
Now, if you have any information regarding any of these cases, you're asked to call the Current Secret Witness Hotline at 322-4040. That'll do it for this special edition of 23 ABC News, California City in the Headlines. I'm Veronica Morley. Thanks for watching.